Praise be Jesus and Mary. Today's the first Saturday of the month. It's also the first Saturday of the whole Lenten season. So today is a very good day and a very good reminder of two things in particular. How we're called to make reparation to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, and also how we are called, especially during the Lenten season, to offer prayers and sacrifices through the Immaculate Heart of Mary. July 13, 1917, Our Lady appeared to the three children of Fatima, Sister Lucy, Saints Jacinta and Francisco, and said this: "Sacrifice yourselves for sinners and say many times, especially whenever you make some sacrifice, O Jesus, it is for love of you, for the conversion of sinners, and in reparation for the sins committed against the Immaculate Heart of Mary." Here Our Lady gives a sort of Lenten program, doesn't she? It's a Lenten program from heaven. Whenever you make sacrifice, do it for the love of Jesus, the conversion of sinners, and in reparation to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. But what sacrifices are we to make? What does Our Lady ask of us? It's very providential that during her lifetime, Sister Lucy, as you can imagine, was flooded with questions. And I say it's providential because she eventually had to address them all, and she decided to write a whole book on it. And she eventually got permission from her superiors. And now we have, thankfully, the book called The Calls from the Message of Fatima. And in that book, she has a whole chapter dedicated to the call to sacrifice, where she answers that very specific question. What sacrifices are we to make? What does Our Lady ask of us? In that book and in that chapter, she writes this: "They may be sacrifices of spiritual, intellectual, moral, physical, or material things. Depending on the particular moment, we shall have the opportunity of offering first one and then the other. What is important is that we should be ready to take advantage of every opportunity that presents itself. So there are a series of little sacrifices that we can, and to a certain extent, must offer to God." And she says this: "The fact that they are small in themselves does not make them any less pleasing to God, and also very meritorious and advantageous to ourselves, because by means of these little sacrifices, we prove our fidelity, our love for God, and of our neighbor." So in essence, she writes, it is generosity in ordinary little things that are constantly happening. It is making perfect the present moment. And then Sister Lucy goes even to the particulars. She writes of more practical examples. She writes this: "To endure without complaining whatever little annoyances we may encounter on our path. Sometimes it may be a disagreeable, irritating, or unpleasant word. Other times it may be an ironic smile, a look of disdain, a contradiction, or we are passed over or set aside as of no account. Yet again, it may be a misunderstanding, a reproof, a rejection. Thus, it is necessary to know how to endure all things, offering our sacrifice to God and letting things drop. Then she continues, to endure with a good grace the company of those who we do not like or whom we find disagreeable, of those who go against us, upset us, and torment us with indiscreet or even unkind question. Then she ends by saying, this denial of ourselves is often the most difficult for our human nature, but it is also the one most pleasing to God and meritorious for ourselves. So what sacrifices are we to make? We can make any sacrifice. And what Sister Lucy really tells us is that we have a whole, we will never lack the opportunity throughout our day. So why let them go to waste then, right? Why not offer them in reparation to the Immaculate Heart of Mary? And why not offer these sacrifices through the Immaculate Heart of Mary to our Heavenly Father? So as we continue this Lenten season, may our Blessed Mother guide us and help us grow in love of God. May she lead us to the cross, namely the sacrifice that God made for love of us. Praise be Jesus and Mary.